So how do you get out of debt when your business owes a lot of money? I think this is a very consequential question, because I think a lot of people are going to benefit from this. When you owe a lot of money, either you or your business, there are a couple of things, a couple of ground rules. The first ground rule is that no matter the pressure they are putting on you, no matter the pressure your creditors are putting on you, your creditors want their money back. You have to have that in mind. Your creditors want their money back. They will not have their money back if you harm yourself or kill yourself, which is something some people do. They think committing suicide is a way to, yes, if you kill yourself, you solve the problem. But the unfortunate thing is that you've just found a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And that doesn't make any sense. You've created a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Being indebted, owing money is a temporary problem, right? I too have faced it, right? And I'm also going to share some of my experience with you, because when you are running a business, this is likely one of those problems that would show up. So the first thing you should keep in mind is the person you are owing money wants their money back. The moment you die, they don't want you to die, because they know that if you die, they lose their money. So the truth is, if you ask your creditors, they don't want you to die. So there's no need to harm yourself. There's no need to get rid of yourself. Even if you kill yourself, you've just created a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and it doesn't make any sense. So the next thing you should do is, the next ground rule is, don't avoid your creditors. I know this may sound counterintuitive, even though it is common sense, right? The more you avoid or evade your creditors, the more you inflame them or give them the impression that you don't want to pay, right? So the moment they call you on the phone, they send you messages, they send you an email, they pay you a visit, and you start to avoid them, all of a sudden, you are bringing attention to, remember, you are an account. If you owe a bank, or you owe a cooperative, or you owe an association, you are an account. And every time they have their meetings, they will always follow up on that account to know what the likelihood is that you're going to pay. The moment you're not picking calls, you're not responding to their inquiries, you are avoiding them, you are evading them, you are bringing focus to yourself. And they are now going to increase the pressure and intensity with which they are chasing you. I learned this one. It was one of the things that really helped me. When they call, you pick the phone, you sound pleasant. What does it tell your creditor? It tells your creditor that you're not afraid, you're not going anywhere, you are acknowledging that there's a problem, and you're willing to pay. So keeping the communication line is very, very important when you're owing money. Don't avoid communication or think that if you ignore your creditor or you avoid them, they'll forget about you. It is not possible. In fact, the opposite will happen. The more you ignore them, the more you avoid them, the more you are uncooperative. You are inflaming the tension, and you are worsening the problem. So the second ground rule is, keep the communication line open. If they call you, you pick. If they send you a message, you respond. What it tells them is there's no cause for alarm, and that is exactly what you want them to think, that there is no cause for alarm. I'm available, I'm not running away, I'm picking your calls, I'm responding to you. The third ground rule, very important, is that you have to engage them in terms of what the situation really is. I took this loan for business, and I've run into hard times. The inflation has made life difficult. I just experienced fraud in my business. Whatever the cause that has caused that indebtedness, explain it to them that I'm facing this challenge right now. I want to pay. The moment I have clarity on when I can make that payment, I will surely reach out to you. I don't want to promise you something that I will not keep. I don't want to make a commitment that I will not keep. Which brings me to another mistake that people make when they owe money. Because they want the pressure to stop, they make promises that are not reasonable and they know they cannot keep. For example, okay, no problem, I'll pay you next week. You know you're not expecting any money next week. You know you don't have any plans for money to come in next week, and you're promising them next week just so that they can leave you alone for now. That is only temporary. They will leave you alone, and by the time they follow up with you next week, you have either of two choices. You either lie to them or you avoid them. Either of these two things are going to create problems. If you lie to them, for example, they then see that this person cannot keep his word, or this lady cannot keep her word, right? This person is not responding. This person is not cooperative. She told us last week, and last week she didn't pay. Then she said this week she didn't pay. What reason do we have to believe that now that she's promising us next week, that she's really going to pay next week? It is even better for you not to promise anything, no matter, because they are going to pressure you to commit yourself and say, okay, you're not paying your loans. When can you pay? It is better you don't commit yourself and say, so one line that works is, I don't want to tell you something. I don't want to make a commitment that I cannot keep, but this is what I'm working on. You mentioned what you're working on. I'm expecting money from here. I'm expecting money from here. I'm expecting money from here. They've not committed when they are going to pay, but the moment they pay, I'm going to pay you. In fact, my plan is to pay you in 10 installments, 4 installments. My plan is I will not be able to pay for the next 3 months, right? But by the 4th month, I'll start paying. Even if it is uncomfortable, say it. If you know that it is a plan that will work, say it. Is better that you say it, and you keep you make a commitment that you're more likely to keep than to give a short-term commitment. I'll pay you tomorrow, I'll pay you next week, and then when it comes to next week, you end up not paying. You're just worsening the problem, because they will see you as somebody who is not credible, and you don't need that. You still need your word to count for something. So those essentially are the basic rules. The first one is the creditor wants their money back. So by killing yourself, you're not solving the problem. Your creditor doesn't even want you to die, because they know that if you die, they will not get their money. So there's no point thinking of how you're going to get rid of yourself, because yes, you may solve the problem, but is your life enough payments for a loan, which is a temporary problem? Doesn't make any sense. The second is, do not avoid them. Do not close the communication. Keep the communication lines open. If they call you, pick. If they send you a message, write. They will try to put you under pressure, which brings me to my third point. Do not make any commitment under pressure that you know you will not keep, because the moment you do that, you're undermining your own credibility.